it's Lisa. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're creating this super cute card with some leftovers from my last Christmas card. This is using the Crafter's Companion Nature's Garden Nativity set, and I went ahead. This is what we're going to create. So I'm using two different die cuts. Now these were die cuts from my last card that I didn't use. I cut those from the background, and I'm going to take the yellow die cut and put it behind this more maroon color die cut, which is going to give it the look of like light. It'll, instead of it being a shadow layer, it's going to be a highlight layer. So instead of, you could just glue these together with a tiny bit of a shift. Then the light source would be all to the right or all to the left or all to the top or all to the bottom. But I have cut this yellow die cut into 3 different parts. So I cut out baby Jesus as one part. Then I clipped at the top of that little house hut thing, just so that I'd get 2 bigger pieces. So I'm going to clip little baby Jesus off. Now, taking this extra step just makes the light look like it radiates out from the manger. Easily, you could change this and just glue the whole thing with a little bit of a shift, and it would look almost as cool with way less work. So if you want to mass produce these cards, I made 4 cards in the space of 30 minutes. If I had to die cut, because I already had these laying around, it would probably take an extra 5. But these are super simple cards. So for the right hand side of that die cut, because I want to make it look like it's radiating from the baby Jesus, I'm putting glue on the right side, and then when I glue that down, I'm gluing with just a little bit of the left edge peeking out. For the left hand side, I'm gluing the left hand side and letting a little bit of the right hand side peek out. So now when you see that, the light looks like it's radiating out from the baby. I'm using liquid glue to make sure that I have time to adjust that background piece or the highlight piece, the yellow die cut, into place, because I want to make sure that it's where I want it to be. And there you go, you could see that end piece. Now I'm going to show you the 4 cuts that I make to this die cut. It's really simple. The 1 little snip at the top, the 2 little snips to get the manger away from the other 2 die cuts, and then I will cut the manger out as well. Save that piece that I just moved though. I'm going to add a tiny little drop of glue, and then I'm maneuvering the bigger die cut onto that tiny die cut just because it's easier to wield. Now remember, when you're gluing the left side, to add glue to the left side of that die cut. When you're doing the right side, add glue to the right side so that the right side of the left piece is glue free and the left side of the right piece is glue free when you lay it down into place. If you get a little glue where you don't need it, just make sure that it's the clear glue or the glue that dries clear. This one, even though it's white right now, it dries clear, so it's perfect. So here, I'm maneuvering this into place so that the highlight looks like it's radiating out from the manger. That's the entirety of this process. Oh, I guess I lied. I did trim that tiny little piece that we cut away down on the sides just a little bit because those other ends have come in closer. And then I glue that in that open space just so there's not a weird dip. Now, I'm going to create a background for this. You 100% don't need to create something. You could easily use a pattern paper or just some blue cardstock. and the highlight is still gonna be that die cut that we just finished. I decided to go ahead and create this background by blending in some Blueprint Sketch Distress Oxide with some of that, oh my gosh, Chip Sapphire Distress Oxide. I got those words out, it was tough. But yes, so that's what I'm doing. I'm just blending that Chip Sapphire into the very top so that it's a little bit darker. You don't have to do this. If you were making a ton of cards for Christmas, this is a great card design to do that with, because I think if you didn't do the background as well and you still needed to die cut all those little die cut pieces out, you could do it in under 30 minutes and get probably 8 cards. Oh, okay, so I did the Distress Oxide. Now I'm spraying some of this spritz spray, and it's glimmer. I thought I'd make it look like stars, which I think it does. Also, it kind of works as a veneer, so you don't get the oxide-ness coming off on your fingers when you touch those background pieces. We're getting close to the end here because all we need to do is glue these die cuts down. Simple as adding liquid glue to the back. Now, one quick note, if you have some of the yellow slipping out on the bottom of the die cut, totally fine, don't worry about it at all. Just glue it where a little bit of the edge, the bottom edge of that die cut sits below the blue cardstock. And that cardstock's just in the regular A2 card size, 5.5 by 4.25. Once that glue is dry, I'll go through and just chop off with my guillotine trimmer any of those edges, but only once the glue is dry. To add a little bit more to that die cut, I'm taking a gold gel pen and just adding some little gloss marks. All I do for that is draw a line that follows the edge and then a little dot below. You don't have to do this. I think it's just a fun little addition. One thing I may do is add some gems to the sky to make it look like more stars. You definitely don't have to do that though. So just a fun little addition that you can do if you want to. It just kind of highlights that card a little bit, or that die cut, but you don't have to do that. So moving on from there, we're going to stamp the sentiment, and I'm going to emboss this. My favorite way to emboss is to stamp with pigment ink. You can stamp with embossing ink, but I like the pigment ink because I can see that it's stamped really well. Sometimes I can't see that with the embossing ink. So I'm using some scrapbooking.com white ink, stamping it down, pouring over the gold embossing powder, and then heating it with my heat gun. And that's it. All we need to do then is stick that on a card base. I'm not going to show that because it's literally gluing that piece of cardstock onto a folded cardstock, and I didn't get that in the video. Here are the two pieces left over from the whole 12 by 12 pages that I used to create these cards and then the previous 8 cards. I decided to use them on the inside because I'm trying to do more on the inside. So I cut down one of the pieces that has the whole like manger scene so that it was just a strip like this. This is what I was talking about. And I'm gonna glue one half of it on one card and the other half of it on another. The other 2 cards, so I end up making 4 cards in this video. The other 2 cards, I'm just cutting this yellow down to 5.5 width and sticking that in the middle. And I'll just write over that for my message. Then here's the other card that's using that little piece of the leftover scene, and I decided a tiny piece of the reverse side would be nice to frame that in on the bottom of both of those. So see, I chopped off the edges of those that were hanging over once the glue was dry. That is it. That's the entirety of those cards. Like I said, super simple, but they're so much fun. I think they look really good, and they were super easy to make. So that's it. That's everything. I hope you guys enjoyed watching these and you got inspired to go create something awesome. You could definitely use this haloing technique on many other die cuts. I hope you give it a try. If you want to see those previous cards, look here. There also should be another video for you to watch. If you're interested in it, hit the subscribe button if you haven't. I really appreciate all of my subscribers. You guys are amazing. Have an awesome, wonderful, crazy, wonderful, amazing day. Bye, guys.